Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. Now, one thing I've learned in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. If I say the words, it's our time, kia ora talofa, which I should have been singing it really, you instantly know who my guest is, don't you? An absolute national treasure to the children of our country and many adults who grew up watching her shows, Suzy Cato. I'm thrilled to have you here today.
Hey, kia ora talofa. Thank you very much for that lovely welcome.
Oh, I loved the national treasure. Do you feel like you're a national treasure?
No, I feel like I'm a friend of many and very, very grateful for that. But look, I'm just your average Suzy, basically. So
I don't know about that. Congratulations on being honoured in the King's Birthday Awards. I just thought that was amazing. It's lovely to see that recognition.
Yeah, amazing. Such a surprise and an incredible honour and such a wonderful gift to be able to put the spotlight on kids and family and the arts and education and all the important things.
Yeah, absolutely. So you didn't expect it? It was
no.
really just out of the blue. And
Yeah. Look, people have often said, oh, Dame Suzy, da-da-da-da-da, national treasure and all those sorts of things. But you know what you have achieved so far, and you think that something like that is for much later in life, at the end of your career, and you know how much more you still want to do. So I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And look, you compare what I do as an entertainer to what others are doing on the ground with and making massive improvements in health and education and things like that. I kind of accepted it on behalf of them until they get their own.
yeah, but they are doing younger and younger. I used to be on the committee that helped decide.
Okay, so what are the criteria?
Yeah, it's quite interesting, I tell you. I was thinking the other day, looking at them, and I thought, I bet they don't do this like it anymore, but we used to get literally the ring binder, and you had a page each.
Oh, right,
you
okay.
altered.
Yeah.
And we would sit there and there would be about 12 of us and the Prime Minister led it, and you would go through page by page.
Wow.
So generally you looked earlier and had a skim through. Some were easy.
Sure.
And then just, as you say, those amazing people in their communities.
Yeah, the unsung heroes, and there are so many of them doing such amazing things.
But let's talk a bit about, that you sort of said, you're an entertainer, but you're more than that to the children. Like you are a friend and you are someone they trust, right?
That's right. And a perfect example of that is now that so many of those little kids from you and me are adults and parents themselves, the heart space that they hold for that program and those songs and that time. And to know that it was a little oasis for some kids in a very turbulent childhood is such a special thing. Although it was never made for that specifically. It was to not just entertain, but to educate and to give the children a one-on-one time where there was nothing else going on. And lives are so busy and they're not getting any less busy now. Parents are just stretched. So to be able to have that time where somebody just sits and talks one-on-one, like in a podcast like this, Paula, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Have your attention and to have the focus on you. And we all need that. It doesn't matter what age we are, but as a child, it is just so life-affirming and so positive. And there's such a need for it.
Yeah.
Such an incredible need. But also with the likes of 3PM is where I really got an appreciation for the medium. When we received in Māori mailbox, which is a great big mailbox with big, big eyes and a big, big mouth, and I'd draw out prize entries and all those sorts of things. And we addressed child abuse through 3 letters that came in through the letterbox. And the first one I got, I actually handed in my resignation because I was paid to have fun. I was, early 20s, just turned 21, making this TV program. We didn't have a lot of plastic fantastic we were giving away, but we were linking, it was like a magazine-style show. We were linking cartoons and things like that. And most of our letters were wanting pen pals, or it was back before the interweb. So It was, where do they get the email addresses or the postal addresses of stars from internationally, that kind of stuff. So to be asked that when really I was just being paid to have fun.
And so through comes a letter from a child that says I'm in danger and I'm being hurt.
Something's happening to me that I don't like and I don't know what to do. Wow. And we were able to address that 3 times during the course of 3 p.m. and we only ran for 1 year. But because of the 3 years that I'd had, coming up 3 years of the Early Bird show with Russell Rooster, there was this connection. And it was really interesting because you look at television presenters and they can entertain you and they can take you on journeys, but they don't often connect at heart sense. And I guess that's one thing that people have been able to do with me is, particularly through You and Me, is we're having this, but this was before I was even on You and Me, was we had this moment together that we shared. And so the big hugs that I get now and the beautiful stories and things like that.
It's amazing, isn't it? I was, because Jason Gunn's the same, right? That time when there wasn't many other medians, it was, you literally sat down and you watched and of course we were about the same age and it was his walking along and, Jason in the airport or whatever went hello and my staff member, who was obviously a lot younger than me, was just like, oh my God, please introduce me, please, like almost beside themselves.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh wow, you know.
But do you get that way with anybody that you see?
Do I feel that real connection? I certainly have people who inspire me and that I'm a bit awestruck with.
Yeah, you get that from people that you've watched on television and so on.
Yeah. Because, there wasn't a lot, because we are about the same age. If you think about when we were children,
sure.
I mean, I remember getting TV for the first time.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'm old enough for that.
Yeah. Nana and Granddad got the first colour TV in our family. It was like, Mum, I don't want to go home. We've only got stink black and white.
Yeah. So there's certainly people that you're in awe of and things, but
to have that heart connection. So, and back when I was growing up, for me it was Catherine McPherson. And she was on What Now? But I had so many particularly inspiring women as actors and so on. But Catherine McPherson, the chaos of What Now would be going on around her and she would just turn around and engage in the camera and just say hello, and you felt like you were actually in there with them.
I remember having that hour of listening to radio on whatever Saturday morning. That was when Mum did the housework, because she was a working mum. And so you literally would sit by the wireless. Gosh, we sound really old, don't we? Okay, let's take a step back. Let's talk a bit about your early years. So I didn't know you were born in Australia.
I was born in Australia, but came to New Zealand when I was only about a month old.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't really count. I've got a New Zealand passport. And
So you moved over young, right? And then so with your mum, is that correct?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just with your mum and then...
Yeah. So I don't actually know who my biological father is. So when we arrived back, actually my grandmother came across to Australia to get Mum and I.
Yeah.
There was a telephone call saying, something's happened and I need you to know that you are now grandparents.
Wow.
And so my nana flew across. It was the first time she'd ever flown.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing for her, but also to go and get her baby and her baby's baby was a big thing too.
Yeah.
So, I don't know who my biological father is, but the lovely story is that my mum and my adopted dad.
Yeah, your dad.
Yeah, my dad. Yeah. Would have caught the same bus off to school or work from Hamilton, but never knew either existed until Mum and I went to Wellington to stay with her auntie, just to have a breakaway once we were back. And Dave actually started babysitting me while Mum went out. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, so he was a boarder at my great auntie's place.
Wow.
And that's how they met. So he babysat me a couple of times, apparently, the story goes.
Yeah.
And a relationship developed from there.
So did you grow up thinking he was your biological father? Or
I
did
did.
you?
Yeah. It wasn't until I was probably about 9 or 10 and we were talking about going overseas to Australia. And I went, I'm born in Australia. Oh, my goodness. Mum's been to Australia, but Dad hasn't.
Wow.
So I'd heard about the birds and the bees and put two and two together, and something wasn't buzzing right. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I asked the question and found out then that I'd been born in Australia and came home to New Zealand with Mum.
And would your mum say that she always knew it was going to come up, perhaps? Or
Yes.
I'm trying to put myself in her shoes.
Sure. Yeah. The naivety and the innocence of childhood, you want that to last for as long as possible in so many ways. And quite possibly she was hoping that it would last a bit longer.
Yeah.
But she would have known it was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've always felt loved and supported and
Definitely.
There's just no question about that.
No.
And he adopted you, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm not too sure what my maiden name would have been, but I'm a Cato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, through and through.
Part of the Cato clan, a wider clan, although, I mean, Dad's got such a small family. I often have people with the last name Cato coming up going, are we related? And I go, oh, I don't know.
And did you grow up in small town?
First 5 years in Hamilton, and then we moved to Kaikooi. And Dad was with Postal and Telegraph, as it was known back then. So, yeah, I did all my schooling in Kaikooi, me and my sister.
And so your relationship with your parents, and have you got siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger sister, Debbie, yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so, very close-knit family. We were, the rest of the family, grandparents and all the cousins were down in Hamilton. So we had the 3 or 4 times the year, the big trek down to Hamilton, the big road trip to see the grandies and all the cousins and so on. But Kaikooi was a really interesting, it was a great childhood.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful childhood because the place was so small. And even when I got my first car, and I was one of the first girls in the group to get the car, we, more often than not, left the car at home and just walked to each other's places because there wasn't enough room in the car for the group of girls. So you couldn't leave anybody out. You just carried on walking around and catching up. So Mum and Dad were quite impressed with that. But it was also because of the cost of petrol. So let's not do that. But it was great growing up. There's only about 3,500 people. So you pretty much knew everybody, or you were aware that they knew you. So there wasn't too much misbehaving.
And then you went into radio, right?
Yeah. So
and was that a desire of yours, and just because you've got a voice for radio, right?
Wow.
Fortunately, you end up having a face for TV as well.
Well, the voice for radio is a really interesting thing because when I started in radio, the tips that they gave me were, here's the microphone button, don't turn it on very often, and call yourself Suzy, not Sue. At the radio station, that's taken to calling me Sue, but apparently Suzy's sexier. Go figure.
Yeah.
And count down from 10 to 1. Because when you're really excited and you're on the radio and you're really excited, you get really high pitched and it sounds really awful. So count down from that high to down to 1, and you've got a voice for radio.
Yeah.
And so pretty much anybody can do it.
Wow. So then how on earth do you go from there into kids TV? And kids TV in particular, because, it's an absolute genre, right?
Yeah, well, I guess I learnt to pivot, as a lot of people in this industry do, long before COVID. So you jump from one thing to another. So left radio and the boyfriend at the time and came to Auckland, the big smokes, expecting to be here in Auckland for 2 to 3 months. It was a big concrete jungle in comparison to the far north of Hamilton. And I thought, no. I'll give it 3 months and then I'll go and live in Hamilton with my grandparents.
Yep.
But started in radio here. Ended up in a number of jobs, including being a photographer's assistant. Worked at BMG RCA Records, taking around the likes of Milli Vanilli and Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics and so on to the various TV interviews and so on. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time at a party. At a barbecue, got to meet the executive producer of the Early Bird Show, which was the first children's program on TV3. He had a whole raft of programs that he was putting together. We got talking about children's television presenters and who I really liked and what I liked about them. And we talked about Catherine McPherson then and how you could actually connect. And then about a year later, I was at a party, big kids party, fancy dress. Don't think the schoolgirl's uniform had anything to do with it, but I got to know some of his employees. And about a week later, I got a telephone call. Would you like to be on television? So he found my number through somebody else.
Yeah.
We'd obviously had a great time at the party, had sung and danced and, got on with everybody, which was great. And this opportunity came about. So from the telephone call, it was a quick sit at the table and a read around the script, and then live on air the following Saturday.
Have you always been a singer?
Oh, well, yes, in that I've loved to sing and I've sung in the shower and I've at every opportunity, and if there was a musical at school, I'd be putting my hand up and all that kind of thing. But I only started taking singing lessons after the Early Bird Show and 3pm had finished and before I started on You and Me. And I'd had about 2 or 3 singing lessons prior to being asked if I wanted to audition for You and Me. And You and Me is so song orientated.
Yeah.
You've got the hello and the goodbye song.
Yeah.
You've got at least one song in the middle of it. So I just started taking singing lessons, and that gave me the confidence to audition. So I've just started a new YouTube channel. I've got 3 new YouTube channels now. The latest one is You and Me NZ. With some of the very earliest episodes of You and Me on it.
Oh,
so,
great.
yeah, it is great because you look back and you go, oh, she's come a long way, that girl, hasn't she? You can see the first 2 episodes we've put up, my eyes are like, awesome in headlights, and it's all very, would you like to come? Okay, come, let's go straight away. I didn't give any pause for the child to interact. So it was a huge learning curve.
A lot of very colourful jumpers.
Oh, no, back then it wasn't that colourful.
Oh, wasn't it?
We got a bit more colourful a little bit later on. So
maybe it was then that I saw them. I want to talk about you being, how old are your children now? You've got
20 and 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you tell them off in public? Because people would just expect you to be the ultimate children raising mum that's gentle and kind, and because you're everybody's friend.
Well, we do try and do that all the time, whether we're at home or out in public, but no, it was a little bit harder to...
Yeah, no, I was just thinking.
Because you are under the spotlight. I mean, anybody who is on the television or is a fronts person of anything is under the spotlight. It's really interesting when you think about it. The number of people driving in marked cars, they've got their car advertising all over it, and you go, okay, that's great advertising for your company as you cut somebody off or whatever. But you are in the public eye, so you are a little bit more aware.
Yeah.
But we always try to do the whole explaining. Yeah. Okay, we did have to raise our voices every now and then, as you do. And more often than not, it was because we'd come to the end of our tether more than anything else. And
that's life, and you're allowed to be human.
We are human, yeah.
I can remember sitting with a friend, and her 13-year-old just, crossed her arms and was sitting there and huffing and puffing and just being absolutely, obviously having one of those, days. And she looked at me and she goes, sorry about her bad behaviour. She's teething. Yeah. And I quite liked it. I thought, we made that excuse since they were 6 months old.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we're still teething now on occasion.
Yeah, exactly. And so do people come up and ask advice on parenting from you?
No, I've not really had that, other than the parenting podcast that I've been a part of and things like that. No, when they come up, it's more to reminisce about their childhood and the connection that they've had with You and Me or Suzy's World or things like that. It's not like, oh, what would you recommend? I don't know, no.
What was Dancing with the Stars like?
Amazing.
Was it? You loved it?
Amazing, loved it.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
No.
Would you do it?
I don't know. I did get asked a while ago, and it just wasn't right for me at that time. You've turned down Celebrity Treasure Island, is that right?
Yes, I have. That's a completely different kettle of fish. With Dancing with the Stars, that's like my childhood. I grew up with every Sunday afternoon with Mum doing the ironing and me and my sister with the toys and all the rest of it, but watching the old classic musicals.
Yeah.
So the hair, the glitz,
the glamour.
I just loved all of that.
You know that David Seymour only got sympathy vibes.
He was on there for 1 week longer than me. What's with that?
Because he got the sympathy votes, because he was a bit of an egghead and they wanted to see him again. That's my theory.
Yeah, well, but he did really well. He stood up to some nasty trolls and things like that during that time. So, yeah.
Which I think is important. Okay, we've got a lot to talk about, Suzy. We need to take a break, but when we come back, I'm going to delve more into some of those harder times in your life and career, and also, talk a bit more about children's television. Welcome back to Ask Me Anything. Today I am talking to the wonderful Suzy Cato. So Suzy, I mean, that connection with children, that expectation from the public. I mean, do you feel like you had a TV persona and a personal one? Or, I mean, you seem exactly the same as what you look like on TV.
I think we all wear multiple hats. So we're lots of different people at different times. So who you are here with me is going to be different to who you were when you were a politician, to who you are at home when you're letting your hair down and all the rest of it. We need to do that. We need to do that for our own privacy and our own preservation, really. So who I am with my husband is very different from who I am with my children and so on.
Because it'd be a bit boring too if we were one-dimensional.
Yeah, true. Although, look, I do try and be as positive and outgoing. And look, when we reach a certain stage in our lives, that can often be a little harder. Earlier this year, I got to that stage of menopause where I'm very grateful that I'm more Tyrannosaurus Rex than anything because my arms are too short to reach anybody.
Yeah.
But you do get that.
Yeah.
So it's about keeping that in check as well.
So what's the best thing then of being 50 plus?
The fact that I don't really care the way I used to anymore. And I don't want to sound that I don't sound caring, but it's like I don't really mind what people think.
Yeah.
And I don't really mind what I wear. You know, I used to, when I was in my teens or even younger, very self-conscious of myself, very conscious of my body, of what I was wearing, what I was doing. I had very low self-esteem, which is ironic coming from a family we were surrounded by love and support and things like that. But you do go through that teenage. And I was a bit of a nerd and a bookworm and not very sporty and that kind of thing. So I did have a lack of self-confidence that I really had to work on, even to be on television. But what I loved about the television is that a light switch would come on. It's like being on the stage. You get to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And I started in theatre as a young child and loved it.
Yeah.
Once again, the dress-ups, the being somebody that you're not. So now I feel more confident in being who I am all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that I'm not so anxious about things and that I don't lie in bed going, oh, did I really just say that? Oh, my goodness, what do they think about that?
It's quite funny because when I was in politics and, you know, you'd go along to events and things and you'd be speaking publicly, actually, in some respects, the ones that I enjoyed the most were crowds that were not as friendly.
Okay.
Because of the challenge of it.
Sure.
And I think because well, you've got a preconceived idea of who you think I am. And actually, that's not all of who I am.
Sure.
And so I'm going to try, and I just always, you know, sometimes if it was a really hostile crowd, you know, I would just think I'm going to win 3 people.
Great. What a great way of doing that.
I'm not going to win 50 because their politics is so different than mine, you know, like, but I am going to win 3 people.
Sure.
And it would just be, but as you saying that switch would come on.
Yeah.
Well, that was mine. I was just
right. I love that. I've never been in that kind of hostile environment. Well, you know,
you'd always be loved.
Well, no, but you know, sometimes you do get invited to speak or perform or something like that. But what I try and do is break the ice. I don't know if you were in the crowd at that time, but I was on the stairs of Parliament and we needed to do a presentation. So the first thing I did was got everybody to sing Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes. Yeah. Especially all those in suits. Come on, you can do it. And because it's like, this is what we're all about. This is where it's focusing on the kids because that's what I was there for. So let's take it to that straight away. And then there's no expectations of anything highbrow because you're with Auntie Suzy.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, so let's talk about some of those tougher times. So you're chipping away, you've got the show going, TV3, and did it just feel like the rug was pulled under you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was one of TV3's, at that time, most requested presenters for events and appearances and, you know, all those sorts of things. We got so many letters and emails. It was really had a great response and really well viewed. So I was really surprised that we didn't get another series and that I no longer fit their brand.
Is that what they said?
Well, pretty much.
Wow.
But look,
did you get a better explanation as to why?
No, well, really, basically, as a new broom comes through, and it happens throughout this industry so much, not just in children's television, but, any new broom coming in as a content curator likes to make their mark. And so wherever they are, they want to change the stable of performers and things like that. And I've been with TV3 since 1990, and we were coming up to 2003.
So that must have felt like a real rejection then.
Yeah, it did actually. It did.
Yeah.
It did. And although I really put a brave face on it, because I don't know, it's that whole thing of, if I am positive for myself, then it's hopefully a good example for others as well. So, okay, I'm not the only one being made redundant. There are people all over the country, all over the world being made redundant. But let's not go doom and gloom on it. Admittedly, we need to do that. And I did.
I was going to say, you can close the door and be at home and actually feel it, because you are allowed to grieve a bit, aren't you?
Apparently the neighbours heard it too.
Okay. Good.
Yes,
I have
been known to swear.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So yes, it was. It was loud. It was and tears. And I went to bed and put the covers over my head, and I just went, because beyond it being a television program, I was the producer for the program, or executive producer. It was my production company that was making Suzy's World. So beyond it being, oh no, we don't want that program anymore. What else have you got? It was, we don't want your television program anymore, but we don't want you either.
Yeah.
Because you're not working, you don't fit the mould anymore.
Yeah.
So that was a real kick in the guts. And I did spend a few days in bed. And I did cry.
And that's quite healthy, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, when you've had a blow,
definitely,
you've got to process it
for
somehow,
sure.
don't you?
Yep. But it's also looking for, okay, this isn't working anymore. What's my next step? So not getting stuck in the depths of despair. It's knowing that there is, as you close one door, another door opens.
Yeah. I mean, I only allow myself to feel sorry for myself for so long. You know what I mean? Like I literally go, okay, yes, you are. Like I've been rejected,
Yeah, exactly.
And they're public rejections, which is, I've just got a different level of humiliation, alongside of them. And I would, so I would allow myself to, grieve and, if you like, and feel it and feel the hurt. And then I go, okay, that's it.
Great. It's those steps of grief, although they say that's not such a thing anymore, but because people grieve differently. But you need to be able to grieve the loss of that job, a loss of that opportunity, a loss of the colleagues that you're working with and all those sorts of things. It's really, really healthy.
And so part of your way of pulling yourself through that was that you coming up with your next moves, your ideas, and a bit more of not relying on others. Is that fair?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, exactly. And our next move happened when I was in my third trimester with my first child, and we went to TV3, knocked at the door and said, hey, we've got this program idea. We'd missed the funding round, and they said, oh, it's a great idea. Unfortunately, you have to wait until next year. And I said, what if we were able to secure funding? Could we do it then? And they said, yeah, sure. Obviously thinking that I wouldn't be able to secure funding. So we started knocking on doors.
Wow.
And because it was a good show, Brian and Bobby, Community Constable
fantastic,
Brian Ward and the police dog.
Yeah.
We got funding and we started a few months later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And have you enjoyed that side of it? More of the production, more of that ideas?
I have. I love that side of things. I hate the paperwork. Oh my goodness! But it's it's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And but it's about the team that you surround yourself with, who can help you with the budgeting, who can help you with all those sorts of things. I love the concept. I love the development of it. I love the bringing it to life, and that sort of thing. But I love the camera.
Yeah.
And I love connecting with and live performance. I absolutely love that. Yeah. So any opportunity to do that is just the bee's knees for me.
So talk to me a bit about what you're doing now. So you said that you've got 3 YouTube channels?
So 3 YouTube channels.
Yeah.
I've had a kids radio show on 28 radio stations around the country for about 16, 17 years.
Yeah.
So once again, because it's kids, best kept secret.
Yeah.
So, but those that listen to those stations are loyal and we get emails and all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. Then New Zealand on Air required that we become multi-platform. So you're making a radio program. The obvious step is to go into podcast.
Yeah.
But that was too easy. let's get the cameras instead and let's start making a YouTube channel. So up until COVID hit, we had kids coming in most weekends showing us arts and crafts and hobbies and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
I've got over 900 videos on my YouTube channel. A lot of them are crafts. I read a story in Suzy's Book Corner every Wednesday afternoon on that channel. It's Tree Hut TV if you want to go and check it out.
Okay.
And then we started up a new channel last year, Kids Talk About Books, which is another big part of what I do with my radio show and my podcast that I've got, which is called Suzy and Friends. We get kids talking about books. So we take the cameras in, and it's a double, it's giving those kids opportunities on so many levels.
Yeah.
Celebrating the bookworms, encouraging others to read, and giving kids a chance to be on the TV and hear their voice on the radio. So that's giving them a voice. It's pushing those paradigms and giving them opportunities at a young age. And for other kids to see their peers not only reading those books, I'll go and check that out because that sounds good. But it's like, oh, if they can do that, I can do that too. So we've gone through schools all over Auckland.
Yeah.
And
that's
it's so rewarding because you get kids that are shy.
Yeah.
They might like reading, but they're quite shy in front of the camera. And with a little bit of editing, they actually look really quite confident.
Yeah.
Just the joy that the parents and their family get from that is wonderful as well.
So what do you make of kids' TV on TV now, these days? Do you think do we have enough local content?
Well, I think the answer's obvious. No.
Yeah.
No, we need so much more. We need so much more. New Zealand On Air is working at the moment to create a platform. It's a YouTube platform, but it will collate and curate a whole lot of content that gets lost in the algorithms. I mean, even my YouTube channel gets lost in the algorithm.
Yeah.
I've got coming up 15,000 subscribers. Wow. I just need a few more zeros at the end of that and I'm happy. But so to be able to have us all in one place where kids are currently viewing is the first step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Ideally, we want a channel that is a safe place for kids so that they can see themselves and hear their voices and the adverts are appropriate.
Yeah.
And there's not that button to then click on to something else. And there's not the doom scrolling or the endless viewing for hours on end, you know.
Or the American influence, with all fairness, and I'm not being anti-American, but it's just got such a strong influence on our children. And then so many of those programs, from what I see with my grandchildren, are, the dad's a bit of a buffoon and the drama in the family and the sass from the kids.
Yes, sass and attitude and putting each other down and things like that. Yeah. So we've had some fantastic programs over the years made for kids here.
Yeah.
We need more of that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely do. Let's talk, because you get to do a little plug. So you're doing a podcast for kids through RNZ.
Yes,
That's what you were just talking about, your Suzy and Friends. And kids are listening, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Mum and Dad would put it on in the car, wouldn't they?
They put it on in the car, they put it on at bedtime, they put it on while kids are in the bath or while they're cooking tea. So what I love, it's also the parents involved as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more than just the YouTube channel. They've got to dig a little deeper and find it.
Yeah.
And so the parents are often getting involved. So just like I guess with you and me and Suzy's world, with all the letters we used to get, a lot of that was parents initiated as well. Or supported. You had to go and find the envelope and put the stamp on. Parents are involved, and we've got brain teasers and sound effects that kids have to try and guess. And it's a little bit more theatre of the mind. And once again, it's pretty much 100% local content, and 80% of that is kids' voices.
Yeah.
Them telling their stories, their jokes, giving us their ideas, what they would do if they were, Prime Minister for the day and that sort of thing.
I love that. Okay, finally for this segment, I would love to know, what was the best advice you were ever given and who was it given by?
Good question. I can't remember who it was given by. I mean, you get so much advice over the years, but it's that don't sweat the small stuff and let it go. That combination, because we are going to sweat the small stuff. We are going to, particularly when we're younger. Yeah. And it's as we're older, we realise, oh, why did I waste all that energy on, being anxious about this situation or, what people thought of me and all the rest of it. But letting it go. Letting go the anger and the hurt and the fear and the sadness, that's the thing that we can carry around. And often it's a great big, not a backpack, it's, you've got that wheelie bag behind you. You got a wheelie bin of negativity behind you. It's about being able to let it go. So something I use quite a bit is haiponopono, which is a Hawaiian, I don't know if you call it a ritual. I don't know what the best way to call it. We learned about it many, many years ago. And it is whoever you are feeling angry or regretful about or you're embarrassed about or anything, you go, I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you, and I thank you. And to begin with, those words are really hard to say when somebody's really done you a dirty. The more you say it, the more you actually let all those emotions go. And basically you're forgiving yourself as well and taking your energy back down to zero or a base space to start from again. So you're getting rid of all that negative energy and you are letting go. And it's just the most amazing gift that you can give to yourself, to let go.
Yeah, what great advice. What absolutely great advice. I always think, harbouring the hate just makes you ugly.
Oh, definitely.
It's only going to come out in wrinkles.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it?
Oh, yes, exactly.
But it has to.
Let it go.
Let it go, let it go. Suzy, the podcast is called Ask Me Anything, and so far I've done all the asking. So this is your opportunity to turn the tables if there's something you would like to ask me.
Well, look, I thought of lots of things I could have asked you, but I wondered whether I just ask you something really, really simple. What was the first song that you remember being sung to you and who sang it to you?
Oh, that's interesting. I would remember Somewhere Over the Rainbow on a ukulele. And I grew up in Kinloch, on the shores of Lake Taupō.
Yeah.
And it was very small then, because we're talking the 70s. So very small then. And I can't remember his name. But he played the ukulele, and I can remember him sitting there and singing to us as children.
Wow! So was that in
the village kind of looked after? It really was a village.
Sure.
Like we say, you grew up in a village. I really grew up in a village, and so it was everybody's role to look after the children.
Fabulous.
Yeah, like literally, and so he used to gather us and my parents owned the corner store, and he used to his babysitting was singing to us.
How wonderful.
And teaching us songs.
How old would you have been?
6 or 7.
Oh, fabulous. And there was a big group of kids around. Yes?
Yeah. They used to do a lot of activities for the children so that the parents could be off partying and drinking.
Oh, okay. So this was a late night activity or?
So that the parents could party. It would be like, okay, someone's going to entertain the children,
Great.
So we were looked after. We were fine.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And what kind of memories does it conjure up for you?
Oh, I loved growing up there. It's just because I formed wonderful relationships with older people because I was kind of precocious. So, but I literally, Mrs. Reed would make me shortbread, and Mr. Patterson was the best strawberry grower. So if I went there at the right time, he would always give me strawberries. And I was allowed to wander around from 6, 7 years old by myself.
Oh, yeah. That's what I remember growing up in Kaikoui as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had that freedom. So you'd
freedom,
disappear first thing in the morning, go and catch up with one friend. By the end of the day, you're at somebody else's house and mum's ringing around trying to find out where you were, or she'd be hollering out.
Yeah.
Because behind us was this paddock, very unkempt paddock, and there'd be kids there, tadpoling, all kinds of things. But what a sense of freedom and what a heart space. Doesn't it feel good when you think of those times?
I mean, there is some weird stuff, like... I think about it now and I think there was one guy that was considered a bit of a weirdo, and I think about it now, particularly when I was child, youth and family, you're responsible for those children. But we all just knew you didn't talk to him and you ran past his house.
Okay, right. Okay, so you were given strategies on how to cope with situations at that age.
It's weird, eh? Yeah. Anyway. Okay, Suzy, thank you so much for coming in today. So where can people find you? So
if you go to suzy.co.nz,
okay,
you will find links to everything there. Okay, suzy.co.nz.
Okay. Will you give me the goodbye song?
Oh, you
can I have a line?
Yeah, definitely.
Go on.
See you later, it's time to say goodbye. See you later, we've really got to fly. See you later, it's time for us to end. See you later, Paula's back again.
Yay! Oh, that's my best outro ever. Okay, and that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. If you have enjoyed this episode, please follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out some of our fabulous guests. Make sure you go and check out Suzy's podcast and her YouTube and everything about her. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.